All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders, a great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shot there from the Chicago camp coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this is going to, I don't know if I want to call this a story or a testimony, but this deals with the interaction that I had with a older lady from Romania. One day I had to go downtown to conduct some business with this lady, and she was very friendly, extremely friendly. And during the course of my interaction and conducting business with this lady, it led to this point in the conversation where my curiosity just got the best of me. And it was towards the time that I was going to, it was towards the end of my time interacting with her. So we had a chance to do all the important stuff. And, you know, I just had some time to just kind of talk to her, not about business, put it that way. And so I was curious and I asked this lady, I said, I still hear you have an accent. Where are you from? And she said, oh, I'm from Romania. I said, wow, Romania. How long have you been in the United States? And she said, oh, for about a good 26 years. I said, how often do you get a chance to go back home? She said, once a year. I said, that's pretty good. You know, if you could go home and to see your family, you know, once a year. I told her Romania is definitely on my to-do list. I said, I really want to get a chance to see the Voronezh Monastery. And this woman just stopped dead in her tracks and looked at me with this complete, unexpected shock and awe. Like, how do you know about that? And I said, oh, I've seen a few things, and I understand that this type of information is not well published here in America. Now, for those who may not know what I'm talking about, the Voronezh Monastery is one of the many icons that our forefathers built during our time of rulership in Europe. Okay? And it looks like the two pictures on the left. Okay? And as you can see, the outside of the wall is just one big mural. Well, one of the most important parts of this mural is this, where you have Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay, you have the saints, the angels in heaven. Okay, you probably have the prophets on here, and you have the ultimate destruction of the beast. All right, bad Uncle Esau. So that's the Voronezh Monastery. And as I said, when I made mention of this woman was totally taken back by surprise. It just, in the sense, like, wow, how does this so-called random black guy know about the Voronezh Monastery? Like, seriously, dude, how do you know about this? And as I told her, you know, I've seen a few things, and I just know this isn't very well published over here, but I have seen a few things. And so my time with her was done. And she said, excuse me, sir, what's your name? I'd like to pray for you. And I said, oh, Numele Mal Yeste, insert my government name. And then she looked at me again with in complete shock. And she's like, what? And basically what I said to her in Romanian is, my name is insert government name. And just the look that she had was even more of a greater shock than when I told her about the monastery. She really looked at me like, who are you? Who are you? It was that expression of you're not the average guy. You are clearly not the average guy. And you know, like, like, who are you? How do you know these things? And so as I left as I departed from the woman, I was just laughing in the back of my mind because it made me, it once again further, out of what's the term I want to use, it just further reinforced how beautiful this truth is. Because if I was the same old dumbass wicked nigga in the world, I would have never had this interaction with this woman. But it's all thanks to this truth. No, absolutely by no, nothing of my power, not at all. But thanks to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai putting me in this truth, I recognize just how beautiful it is. It feels like there's nothing that I cannot relate to. Even if I may not be an expert on it, it feels like there's nothing that I can't relate to, and just how good and precious and pure that this truth is. Okay. And so that reminds me of the passage where it says, in the New Testament, where was it Matthew 13? And 44. Matthew 13 and 44. It says, again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hid in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchantman seeking goodly pearls, who when he had found one pearl of great price, he went and sold all that he had, and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea, and gathered of every kind, which, when it was full, they drew to shore, and sat down, and gathered the good into the vessels, but cast the bad away. And that's how this truth is. It's something that's so beautiful and so precious that nothing else really matters. And when you have it, it's the greatest thing in the world. Like I said, I am far from being a expert in history. Uh, I can definitely say that's the elder Malcolm of our camp, the elder, uh, Apostle Elder Tazadakba. Forgive me, Elder, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Okay, and to our apostle elders on top, Apostle Tahar, Gabar, Rakah, and Aramullah. Okay, I'm far from being on that level, but I have learned from those men, and just learning from those men, being in the truth, I'm able to speak on these things. And when I have a chance to speak on these things, the people that I interact with, they all have the same reaction that this lady from Romania had. They're just like, who are you? Who are you? The average American does not know about this, especially the so-called average black person doesn't know about this. And it's your history. And it's a beautiful thing, as I said, to just be able to use this truth, even if it's just in regular conversation. You know, the mere fact that the Lord has opened my eyes to be able to understand the truth and be able to relate history to the Bible and to know that it was us. It's something that truly is undescribable. But at the end of the day, all I can say is that I'm glad I got it. I'm glad that the Lord blessed me with it. So that's all I wanted to say on this. I hope you all were edified. To the next time, we're going to say Shalom.